Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to A Reseller's Journey. Here is your host, ebayjoey.
Welcome to A Reseller's Journey Season 3. I am your host, ebayjoey. Today's guest is having success in the reselling game and with his podcast called Road to Freedom. He is reselling sneakers, mugs, bolos, and anything he can get his hands on that will make him money. Representing PA to the fullest, he goes by the name MattSulava, but I call him Matt Shalowski. Welcome and thank you for being on the show.
Hey, happy to be here, Joey. Happy to be here.
Hey, thanks, man. As I was getting ready to say your last name, I was like Shalowski, and then all these different names, but that one just kind of stuck out, man. But what is your last name? What's the origin of that?
So it's like Czechoslovakian, so like which
Oh,
isn't even a
cool.
country anymore. But yeah, a lot of people have trouble saying it, so it's no big deal.
Yeah, but I do like it when you do say it on your podcast, man. I was trying to say it like that, but I couldn't get it down.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Yeah. So how's your day going? How's your night? We're doing this interview at night. How's everything going for you?
Yeah, it's been good, man. A good day, super solid. Work was good, and then after work, made some good sales and stuff. Just doing some research and that. So pretty good day.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I'm excited, man. You have your own podcast. You're on a podcast,
Yeah,
so I'm excited just to get to know you and ask you some questions, man. But are you ready to get it on?
let's go, man. I'm pumped.
All right. So, how did you come up with your name, Matt Shalava?
That's my name. So nothing too original there. That's just rolled with it. I figured it would be
Right.
pretty different. So,
Yeah. Did you even think about like? Did you ever think about maybe perhaps changing and having like a reselling name?
So I have my regular Instagram account, which was like the one I used like in high school and stuff. And then I
Mhm.
made this one and I just made it my actual name kind of because like there's a lot of different like eBay names and stuff and like hustler names and stuff. It's very hard for me to keep track. So I was like, well, at least like I'll
Yeah.
be able to say it and like it's easy for me to remember because I haven't met anybody who has the same last name as me outside of family. So it's like it
Yeah.
like sticks with people and stuff.
Yeah, you're that makes sense. Even for myself, I thought about that too, right? I was
Hmm.
okay, well, how do you come up with a name that, people might like or you can pronounce, but my last name starts with an S like yours, and people always butcher it all the time. So I was like, I definitely don't want to go that route. So where are you based out of, Matt?
So I'm based out of Pittsburgh, PA.
Okay. Were you born and raised out there?
Yeah, yeah. So I've lived out here all 23 years. So
Mhm.
um different places and stuff. I mean, same house, but for college and stuff I moved away. But yeah, still living out of Pittsburgh.
Okay, cool, cool. So for people that are not too familiar on a map, where is Pittsburgh located in Pennsylvania?
So it's in like Western PA. Like you have Philly, which is the big city in the east, and then Pittsburgh's kind of
Mhm.
like the bigger city out in the west. Not nearly as big as Philly, but it's kind of the
Yeah.
biggest thing that we have out here.
Yeah, how long would it take you to get to Philly, like if you had to drive?
Probably about like 5.5 or 6 hours.
Oh,
It's a bit
wow.
of a trek over there. Yeah.
Yeah, do you ever go out that way to source once in a while?
I haven't sourced out there. Actually, I
Uh,
have. I sourced out there once when I was like, I don't know, way before I did eBay. I went to a Ross and was looking for shoes to flip because I've done that for a while. Um,
mhm.
but it was just I was on vacation out at like the beach out there. So, um, but yeah, not too often.
Okay, okay. Well, later on in the show, we'll talk about, where you like to source and all that, based on where you live. So are you doing this full time or part time, Matt? The
I'm
reselling?
part-time right now.
Okay. And are you working full time or do you go to school since
Yeah.
you're a young guy, 23 years old?
Yeah, so I graduated a year ago, and I'm full-time for a company about an hour away from where I live that makes like refractory bricks. So I'm their plant engineer there.
Oh, nice, nice. So what's your background? What'd you study in college?
I studied mechanical engineering,
Okay.
um, like no minors or anything, just that was kind of enough for me.
Yeah, you must be really good at math, man. to be a mechanical engineer?
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, it's tough and stuff. There are a lot of kids that are
Mm.
just like brainiacs up there.
Yeah.
But it was good.
No, that's cool, man. I think that definitely has to help you out with your business
Mm,
because it's very technical. I know at my plant we hired a mechanical engineer, and just the stuff that you can do with like probabilities and you can get things down. We manufacture, cabinet doors, but it's like you can figure out when the machine does this and when's the best time and all that. So do you implement that in your business?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for me is Excel.
Yeah.
Like, I learned a lot of Excel in school, and I kind of like it. So a lot of my business runs off of like an Excel sheet that I made, and that's
Nice.
really been the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, how often do you update your Excel spreadsheet?
Like daily. I mean, like I'll put sales in and stuff daily.
Yeah.
And then if it's like a huge thing, like eBay going to manage payments and stuff like that, I got to make a
Mhm.
few things out for that so that it calculates right and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Do you have a lot of cells on your Excel spreadsheet? Like a lot of columns?
Yeah, so like I put in each one, like each buy that I have. I am getting close. I
Mhm.
built it out to like 1,500 when I first started, and I'm getting close to filling that. So definitely
Wow.
made, yeah. So it's been good, but there's definitely a lot of information in there to keep.
Maybe are not too computer savvy because I know there's some old school people out there where they like to use a paper and a pen and kind of keep track that way, like
Mhm.
the old school style. But man, technology and the spreadsheet, it really helps you. Like, um, for me personally, like I keep track daily, every morning, every night, because I like to see what my cash flow is looking like, whether
Mhm.
it's sales that are pending, from Amazon or maybe there's money in your PayPal. So I just like to see where I'm at, but the computer and the Excel, which I think is a great tool. Awesome. So, Matt, what motivated you to get started into reselling?
Yeah, so when I was like entering my senior year, I started listening to a lot of Gary Vee because I figured,
Hmm.
it'd be good to know about some business. And he always talked about starting your own business. I didn't really have anything that I was like, oh, I'd love to start this. And I saw him
Hmm.
garage sailing one day. And so me and one of my roommates, I kind of looked at him and I was like, hey man, do you want to go out to a thrift store and we'll see if we can buy some stuff? So
Yeah.
we both went out and then I bought like 6 mugs and that was kind of the start of it.
Yeah. What did the video that you watched with Gary Vee, was he flipping mugs? Is that what
Yeah,
kind of got you
that
into
was
mugs?
that was like the start of like mug life for Gary Vee, where he was going to garage sales and buying all the mugs up and stuff.
Nice. So what was your first mug that you bought? Do you remember it? And then what's the first one you sold?
So like I bought like a Hershey's Kisses mug. I bought a Star Wars set of mugs. I think there was like one that was shaped like a heart, like that said Texas on it or something. I don't know. I was trying
Hmm.
to just guess. And then the first one that I sold, I went to the same thrift store and they had these two giant beer mugs from like a local brewery. And those were like 99 cents each. And I remember I bought them, listed them on eBay, and went to bed that night. And they sold the next day for like $30. And I was so pumped.
Wow. So did you have a set price or did you do a bid for like one day? How did you get it
I
to
was doing
30?
I was doing buy it now for
Oh,
that.
buy it now. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So how was the shipping process for mugs? I'm always interested um in learning how to package new items, especially like it seems very similar to a hat in a box, maybe like a 10 by 10 by 8 by 4. What would you use for the mugs?
Yeah, so whenever I'm shipping mugs and stuff, I looked up how to ship them because there's tons of people that do it on YouTube. And there was this
Yeah.
guy who who took the mug, you wrap it in 2 sheets of bubble wrap, and then take like a piece of cardboard that's the same height as the mug and wrap it super tight around that bubble wrap, tape it all up real
Uh,
good, and you throw it like I've thrown them in like the cardboard mailers and even mailed them across just like that, and they've
mhm.
never broken when I did that. If I
Okay.
Yeah, if I leave out the cardboard, that leads to some problems. But uh,
Yeah, and is it typically under a pound if you ship them?
for smaller ones, yeah. If it's over a pound, I'll throw them in like a bubble mailer and get that flat rate. But if it's under a
Okay.
pound, I'll either put them in like a small box or a small poly mailer or something.
Nice. Like since you started with mugs, and I know, we were talking before we did the interview, but you still sell them here and there. Out of 10 mugs you ship, how many come in damaged, chipped, broken, things like that?
I've probably sold, I would say maybe like 40 to 50 coffee mugs. I've only ever broken one. Um,
Okay.
yeah, it was only because it was late. I didn't wrap the cardboard around it, like I said. So I just put two
Yeah.
pieces of bubble wrap around it and threw it in a bubble mailer, and somebody must have just completely smashed it or something.
Yeah, it happens, man. It seems like these people that handle the products, they're very rough, man.
Yeah.
I've seen some like funny videos. I think I posted one on my Instagram where it was like the FedEx driver, the UPS driver,
Yes.
and USPS
Yes.
and how they treat the packages.
That
But
was
you
amazing.
definitely,
That TikTok was amazing. I was dying when I saw
yeah.
that. I love that.
I ended up showing it to my friend. He's a FedEx driver, and he was just laughing. He's like, "Yeah, we have a bad rep, but it is what it
Yeah.
is." So, man, if somebody wants to, get into the mug game, is it profitable? Is it worth it in your opinion?
So it depends. I mean, if you're in like going to a little mom and pop kind of thrift store, like a Salvation Army, like a lot of those are smaller. You can get mugs super cheap. And then if you don't have a lot of
Okay.
money, you're trying to put like low capital in, I think that they're good to start with. But like for me now, I'm not looking for mugs unless I'm like at a garage sale and I see like, 10 mugs for $1 or something like that. Then I'll pick them up.
Okay.
But they're not super profitable. I'm usually making 5 to 10 bucks on them. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean,
Maybe it's just good if you want to get your feet wet.
yeah, exactly.
Cool, man. So, what platforms are you currently selling on?
Yeah, so my main one's eBay. I do probably 90 to 95% on there.
Yeah.
And then I sell on Amazon, like books a little bit,
Mhm.
Mercari, Goat, StockX, and a little bit of Poshmark.
Okay. How's your Posh been for you this month?
I I honestly have not even looked at it yet. It's like it's very, very much in the back. I go on there, I share like once or twice a month, and then it's more or less like something will sell, and then I'm like, oh nice, something sold, but it's not something I look at too often.
Yeah, you know what? Like, for me, I started Posh in the beginning of the year, and I just wanted to add another platform, get
Mhm.
more visibility on my goods. But it seems like I'll have a good month, and then the next month they'll go down, and then I'll have a good month, and then it goes down. But I mean, stuff sells on there.
Mhm.
It's cool and all, but I mean, I wouldn't want to sell anything that's really over $100 just because of the fees.
Yeah,
That's the only
they're
thing
they're
that kind of
taxing.
gets me. Yeah, how do you like Mercari?
Yeah, so I love Mercari. I don't dedicate nearly as much time to it as I'd like to, just because like eBay just has so much more traffic, right? But like
Yes.
Mercari, um, they started a thing called the Pro Seller Program. Um, they started it as like a beta trial, and I somehow found out about it on Instagram. And just like literally today, I got an email right after I got done talking to you on the phone that I'd been
Yeah.
approved for it. So like they're taking, I think I'm gonna like it a lot more because like one of the perks of that is they're actually taking your eBay listings and pulling them straight into Mercari from your eBay account. So there's
Oh,
no listing or
wow.
anything. Yeah. So I like it a lot. Like when I make a sale on Mercari, it's nice. The buyers are all super nice usually. It's super smooth. Like it's a very good platform. If you're starting, I would very, very much recommend it. Like it's very, very nice.
Yeah, I've talked to resellers, and they like the way that you can ship. I think you do a lot on your own, but you're more in control as a
Mhm.
shipper, and just using whoever you want to use. But I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Mhm. Mhm.
So what does your schedule look like, Matt? Because you're working an hour away from home. I'm assuming you're Monday through Friday, and then
Mhm.
you got this business. Like, let the people know like what you do for sourcing and when.
Yeah. So like I'll go to work. I get to work around 7:30. I leave work around 4:30. So all that
Hmm.
time there is kind of blocked off for work, except for lunch. I'll do a little bit of work during lunch for my business. And then after that, like you said, I have an hour drive home. For a while before like COVID hit and everything was still open, I was going to Ross, Marshalls, TJ Maxx, very, very daily. And then those all kind of shut down around me. And I started doing a lot of online sourcing. And now that's primarily what I do. I can find like items online and really like get like a higher amount of that item and then still get work done like on my business at home, like on the back end of stuff. So a
Yeah.
lot of online sourcing right now.
Yeah, is that when I was listening to your podcast, and you were talking about I think 40 items. Is that what you're talking about? Like the stuff that you're getting online where it's almost like a
Yeah.
replenishable?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, sometimes companies will restock an item, or I'll see an item
Yeah.
that is just doing really well. And then if
Yeah.
I can go and get 30 or 40 of them, that just like sets me up for the next week at least, to keep
Okay.
things moving and stuff.
Yeah, so now with the COVID, what's the percentage of sourcing online and then, the RA side of it, the retail?
Yeah. So like in the middle of COVID, there was still a lot of RA stuff that I could do. So I was like Walmarts and Targets and stuff. I was in there almost like every other day at least.
Hmm.
And there's a ton of stuff that I could pick up. But right now, those are kind of cleaned out and it's kind of like a lot of stores are shutting down again and stuff. So I'm doing probably, I don't think I've bought a product in store in like a week or so. Like it's
Okay.
almost all online.
Nice. And so on average, now that you're doing the OA, we're like in the middle of COVID. On average, how many items are you selling a month?
So for the past 3 months, I was averaging somewhere around like 120, 130 items a month.
Okay.
So
Nice.
yeah,
And then before COVID, was it a little bit less or was it higher?
it was so like January was super high because you're coming off of that Christmas like
Hmm.
Q4 kind of thing. And then it really dipped down in February. And then March was just a mess for everybody, it seemed like, because nobody knew what was going on. So it was definitely
Yeah.
lower then.
Yeah, March was interesting. I mean, for me, I'm grateful for the approach that I took. I really
Mhm.
just laid low, man, and really just sell through everything. I think like some people they had a feeling that things were for the worst, and some people had a feeling like, oh, this is only going to last a couple weeks. But you saw this big boom in OA plays and
Mhm.
online. People were just going nuts, and some of the deals which made sense. Did you take advantage of any of those OA deals during that time?
Um, like, what do you mean by like OA deals? Is in like,
Oh, like the sneakers stores, all the foot sites. When people they closed down all the Ross, the Marshalls, those
Mhm.
were all shut down. Did you just kind of switch to, going all the foot site websites and buying sneakers?
Yeah, so I actually pivoted like completely. I was doing a lot of sneakers,
Mm.
like ones that would be like ones you'd put on Goat or like StockX. But I pivoted completely off that. I was doing a lot more things like household goods or things to do while you're bored during COVID kind of things. Like
Yeah.
not really too much sneakers for me.
Okay. Yeah, and then do you feel that now that we got out of that whole time where the stores were closed and now the stores are open, are you still like wanting to do stuff like that? Or are you just completely shutting it down where it's like that was just a pivot, but now I'm going back to, what I was doing before?
I think I'm gonna keep doing what I've been doing. I mean,
Yeah.
for me, like I love shoes. I love going into Ross. I think
Yeah.
you mentioned it in like one of your podcasts. It's the thrill of the
Yeah.
hunt.
Yeah.
But for me, I don't know if it's maybe that I'm not going often enough, or maybe that my Ross is just not restocking often. But it wasn't nearly as profitable for me as like what I'm doing right now. So it's
Mm.
definitely like, and I enjoy it a good bit. It keeps me moving and stuff too. So
Yeah, it might be all the resellers in PA, man.
yeah,
which I mean, some of them I but yeah, I mean, I think that can also, contribute to not finding as many shoes. Some areas seems like they get more shoes than others, man. When I'm on Instagram, I'm like, man, people on the East Coast are killing it, and it's a Saturday,
yeah,
it's a
yeah,
Sunday. So kudos to them.
yeah.
So what is your business model, Matt? Now, let's talk about the business model for the RA, and then now you switch to the OA. Kind of just walk us through what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, so with a lot of RA stuff that I was doing, um, I was doing like primarily Ross, Marshalls, TJ Maxx. I was going in there, going through the clothing racks, going through any
Hmm.
of the clearance stuff, and then all their shoes. And I was taking all that, listing it on eBay, Mercari, Goat, and StockX if I found some new stuff, like with the box and everything. But for me, like that was more like long-term stuff. I listed at the price I knew I could get once all the people that were like
Hmm.
kind of undercutting sold out, and
Yeah.
then I would wait for it to sell. But then like when I started doing OA, I was realizing that there's a lot of value. I understand that like people don't like the undercutters and stuff, and I'm not one
Yeah.
who like super undercuts, but if you can sell products faster, you can buy more of them and make the same profit, but make that profit faster. And so for me, I'll oftentimes list middle to like middle low sometimes just to try and get
Yeah.
money moving quicker through that. And that's what I've been doing a lot more recently.
Yeah, I do like that approach, and I know people personally, resellers that are they price high. I mean,
Hmm.
and kudos to them, but I feel like that really occurs when resellers are established, where
Hmm.
it's like, they're that product that they have, they've been waiting 6 months to a year, but guess what? They have other items that are selling before that that are also 6 months to a year, so they have that
Hmm.
backlog going. But for me, I'm similar to you. I like to be in the middle. If it's a rare item that I'm not finding, then yeah, I'll go high and just be patient. But I like to have a mix, man. I like low margins when it comes to high quantity, Matt.
Hmm.
And then for the most part, I'm at minimum 50% margins, but I try to make as much as possible. Just depends on the product.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much where I'm at right now. If I can make something, if I can turn money really quick, I'll go in on the product, depending on what it is and stuff. But that seems pretty much what I'm doing too. Kind of those kind of margins is what I'm trying to hit.
Yeah, so what's quick for you? Like, let's say you just placed this order online, the 40 items that you were talking about. How quick are you trying to flip those?
So it depends. Like if I get the item in, I like to try and get the item listed and at least have like one to two sold within the first day or two. And as you
Okay.
start selling like on eBay, I noticed that like my like rank in the search results goes up a
Yeah.
little more. And as I start to sell more and I kind of pay them off, I can up the price and kind of sell out slower and slower until I'm good.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about making like two listings, one at a higher price and then one at a lower price, but it's still you?
Oh yeah, all the time. I mean, that's one of the best things. I like testing out different titles, different pictures.
Right.
So yeah, I'll do multiple listings and just get different views on it to see what goes well and stuff.
Yeah. Do you notice are different with a white background and then non-white background?
So like I put this up on Instagram the other day and like I got so many comments. It's like you have like two fields of people. You have like the one person who's like I am only listing with the white
Yeah.
background. You have like the other people who are like I
Yeah.
will not list with one. I don't see a difference. I mean, I'm literally at this point I take pictures on my garage floor and I'm posting them on
Yeah.
eBay and there really isn't a difference for me. Like it's quicker and it still sells. So for me, I'm like there may be I think there's a time and place for it. If you're listing maybe like clothing or something, it may look good with a white background. Some of the products I'm moving aren't needing it from what I'm seeing.
Yeah, you know what it reminded me of when you did that on your podcast, and that was a question on your Instagram. It just reminds me of when people say, "Do you offer free returns
Oh
on
my.
eBay?" Yeah, and then
Yes.
people are like, and then for me, I mean, I know people that are successful with free returns, and I know people that are successful with offering no returns. So, I used to be one of those people, free returns, Matt. But once COVID was coming, I had this feeling that I was going to get a lot of returns
Hmm.
if I'm offering free because people might be in a pinch. So I ended up pivoting, and if the customer wants to return it, I'm cool with it. They just got to pay for it.
Yeah.
And I noticed like my sales increased, but I also noticed that you attract more serious with with when the customer pays for returns.
Yeah. No, I mean that makes a lot of sense. I mean, they're definitely going to be more aware of what they're buying and not just kind of going and spending money knowing that it's kind of free money if they don't want it anymore. Um, Yeah, free returns versus no returns triggers people, man. Like, there's a few things with
It
reselling. You like
does.
post them on social media. I'm getting like, how
Yeah.
dare you offer free returns? I'm like, geez, oh man, I thought I was doing a good job. Like, this person's really upset. So it's
Right. I think in the community, Matt, it seems like low ballers, undercutters, that's a big topic. I think the
Mhm.
returns is another big topic. And I think the one that you talked about on your show, the white backgrounds is also a big one.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, it's it, they're all like detractors too. I mean, at some point, none of it really matters as much as people make it out to be. I mean, whether or not you're offering, returns or not, or using this background or that background, like there's more important things to worry about too.
Yeah.
But it is funny. Like there's like some people really, really have like their stance and they're not moving from it.
Right. I think for when it comes to listings, I think, all the stuff we talked about, I think your description in the header, I think that's the most important in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the title's like my biggest thing, right? I have like my set way of doing a title, and then once that title's done, then I'll move on to the description. But I think those are the two bigger ones, and then out of that, I mean, everybody's kind of just picking whatever they like the best, you know?
Yeah, I think pictures help out as well. I
Hmm.
think that in my order, I think as far as I mean, if you know your shoe size, regardless if they offer free returns or no returns, like you know when you're gonna hit that buy it now.
Hmm. Hmm.
So earlier you talked about the platforms that you sell on. Which one is your favorite, man? I know you do 95% with eBay, but is that your favorite?
eBay's probably my favorite. It's like close between eBay and Mercari because eBay eBay's like the best, right? They're just super
Yeah.
nice. I have no problems with them when I call in. They're very easy. And Mercari's a little bit different because they don't have like they're not as established, right? But just making sales on there is super simple for me. And it's almost like, okay, we're gonna just give you your
Hmm.
label. You don't even have to worry about it. I think eBay's still my number one just because I list on it so much and stuff, but I do enjoy both of them a lot.
Yeah. Are you offering free returns on your eBay?
Yeah. Yeah, I do free returns for everything.
Uh,
Um, pretty much everything. And I mean, like, that's like big items too. Like, I've shipped like 120-pound items that I offer free returns on. So,
wow. Now, what's your percentage on returned items? So, like on a monthly, what do you average as far as returns?
so it was like 2% pre, probably around like pre-June. And then
Okay.
June, I started selling some items that, like, I think somebody drop shipped like 20 or so of my items
Oh
onto
wow.
Amazon. And like I've heard a lot, like you can't like get in trouble if somebody drop ships, like there's no problem. Like,
Mhm.
but somehow this guy figured out a loophole because like every time he got a problem with it, he would just return it to me. So that's like up my returns a little bit. But
Mhm.
it's probably hovering around 4% right now. Nothing crazy.
Okay. Now, and based on how many items do you have in inventory at any given moment?
Yeah, so I'm hovering right around 180 to 200 at
Okay.
any given time.
Yeah, that's a good amount, especially, you're working a full-time career job and now you have the side business. 180, that's kind of, very similar to where I'm at. So what ended up happening with the drop ship? Did you accept all of them, or at one point did you just say like, "Nah, I can't do it anymore"?
So I had free returns on all of those, and he bought like 26 or 27.
Yeah.
Um, so I was like, whenever I was starting to get returns, I was like, I could stand to lose probably like $1,600 when this is all done. So this is not good.
Wow.
So I called eBay and basically told them what was going on, and they said, like, whenever you offer free returns, you're a top rated seller,
Yeah.
and you have free returns, you have the option to report the buyer if they're kind of misusing that. And
Okay.
once they get three of those, they get an email. Once they get four of those, you don't have to accept the returns. So any of them that come back damaged, I just report them. And then once the fourth one hits, which should be like if he returns any more, then
Yeah.
I don't have to accept them anymore.
So is that what happened? You just stopped accepting after number 4?
Well, I've only gotten 3 so far. I'm waiting on number 4 to see if he ends up sending one back. But I mean, like, yeah, like like some of them are used,
Yeah,
man. I'm like, what in the world? Like this
yeah,
package is destroyed, or like this one's used. I'm like, that's disgusting. Like some of the stuff that people are
yeah.
like sending back is just weird.
Yeah, I started selling on Amazon the last couple months, man, and Amazon customers return like crazy. And
Hmm.
even before I started selling on Amazon, my wife, she likes to return, and sometimes she'll buy two of something, and then,
Hmm.
oh well, I'll just return the other one, right? And when I would go into the UPS store, if I had a Go or StockX, I would always guarantee see one person returning an Amazon package, and I'm just like, people, what's going on? But yeah, I completely get it, man, with that guy. Just Amazon customers, they just love to return.
Oh yeah, no, man. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I've seen. People are like, you got to be prepared for the returns on Amazon. So
Mm.
definitely a little bit higher there than any on eBay and stuff.
Oh, yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So, you're talking about you're shipping out a lot of items. It comes to like 120 a month. You even ship 120 pounds at one time, right? One item. Where is your shipping station located, Matt?
Like where I prep them or where I actually
Yeah,
bake
yeah,
them.
yeah. Where you prep them? Yeah, where you prep them?
Yeah, so they're just in the garage right now. Like everything, once COVID kind of like was a thing, and my mom was put like on a basically like her work kind of been shut down, so she's on leave right now from
Okay.
there. So she hasn't like needed to like keep her car in the garage or anything like that. So she was gracious enough to let me just like back her car out of the garage, and I kind of like
Yeah.
took over. I don't think she realized what was going to happen because like I had went from like a little shelf of stuff to like half the garage just packed full of stuff right now. But that's where I operate most of my
Wow.
stuff out of.
Nice, nice. So she's helping you with the business?
My parents, they help me a little bit. I mean, I try and do as much as I can on my own. But like if there's a big item that I need to lift or like a big item that needs
Mhm.
shipped and I don't have a lot of time, my dad will help me a lot. My mom will help me sometimes if I really need it. So yeah,
Okay.
I get a little bit of help here and there. Not a ton, but whenever I need it.
Yeah, I was listening to your podcast, and I think you were talking about uh, maybe like redoing your shipping station. If I if I understood it right, or you're gonna
Mhm.
like you were talking about like boxes that you've had that were like pre-cut versus boxes that I guess you had to cut down yourself.
Yeah, so up until like a week ago, things had just been a complete mess in my garage, right? Like you couldn't move in
Okay.
there just because I tore the whole place apart. Like I was like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
fix this place, and I tore the whole place apart, and that 120-pound package like
Yeah.
threw out my back. So like I couldn't move for a week. I'm like 23, I can't move. And so yeah, so it was just a mess. Finally I got it cleaned up and now like it's located like in there. But yeah, I threw away a ton of boxes that were just kind of chilling in there. And I leave them all ready to like all in their like flat state. Like I cut them all down and stuff just to save space.
Nice, nice, awesome. So, earlier in your intro, for people that don't know you, you have your own podcast,
Hmm.
and it's called um, Road to Freedom, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, what made you get started? Like what made you want to start the podcast
Yeah. So
or podcasting?
yeah, so Gary Vee is like a huge influence when it comes to like social branding and stuff, and I know that that's very big.
Hmm.
Um, in conjunction with that, I don't know if you've heard of him on Instagram, but his name's Flip Flip, and he basically
Heard
went
of
from
them? Yeah.
he basically went from like living in his car after he graduated college and not having like much money to
Mhm.
making like a lot, like buku amounts of money doing
Mhm.
a reseller group and all this kind of stuff. But really like learning how to do reselling and thrifting and stuff is how I got started. But he documented everything in a podcast, and I was like, that's kind of cool. Like you can look back on
Yeah.
everything. And so for me, I was like, I should try that and see how it goes. I like talking, so it kind of
Yeah.
worked with that.
Yeah, nice, nice. I mean, I think you also you learn a lot too, and I
Hmm.
think it opens up like a big network for you because people can start to relate and ask questions.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's the other thing. Helping people with that is huge for me. I mean, there's a lot, there's just so much that like you don't know if you don't know it. You know what I mean? So like when you're
Hmm.
starting out, it's 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 just another avenue for hopefully people to find reselling and at least be able to make themselves, maybe a couple $100 more a month, if that, and then they can really level that up if they want to.
Yeah, is that like the mission statement? Is that like the goal for your show?
Yeah, I mean, the goal is to kind of bring awareness to reselling for those who
Hmm.
really don't know about it. And like for me, it's kind of changed almost everything about how I operate. So
Yeah.
hopefully to kind of change like other people's lives and bring them a little bit more happiness and kind of alleviate any money struggles or anything like that for them.
Yeah, it's huge. I look at it as passive income, and for some people, if you need to pay, electricity bill or you need to make a car note, I mean, reselling gives you the opportunity to do it. And
Hmm.
I pass by so many stores my whole life and not think like I can make money from this store, you know?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it's amazing. What do you feel the reseller community is lacking?
That's a good one. I think awareness, man. I mean, I really think
Yeah.
that's what it is, right? Because they're awesome. Like you go into the reseller community,
Yeah.
people want to help you. People are super outgoing.
Yeah.
They're very kind. But there's not many people. Like I tell people I sell on eBay and like maybe
Yeah.
one out of every 10, 15 is like, "Oh yeah, I used to sell on eBay." But like nobody knows like going into a Ross or going into a
Yeah.
Walmart or anything.
Yeah, the community has been very helpful, especially for me. In the beginning, man, you just have so many questions. But I know some
Mhm.
people they can feel like, especially the veterans, they can feel like, man, like go do some homework, go do some research. But
Mhm.
it does feel great to help people. Whatever it is that you can help. But that's one thing that I like about the human species is like we learn from one another.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I 100% agree.
Yeah, so what's one thing that you do like about the reseller community?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that whenever somebody like talks about something, I could
Yeah.
easily DM that person and just talk to them. And most people are super helpful. I mean, you have your people that just like they don't have the time or they just don't care. But for the most part, people whenever I comment or like DM them and stuff, they're pretty good at getting back to me and at
Yeah.
least can point me in the right direction, if not help me out. So I do enjoy that. It's not like I haven't found it to be like as toxic as like some other communities could be and stuff.
Yeah. Who do you talk to resellers frequently?
So yeah, I mean, I'm in a reselling group, like a
Mhm.
Discord group. So I talk to people in there a good bit, and then there's a few people that I met through there and on Instagram that I'll DM with, like daily and stuff, just talking about like, hey, like, what are you up to? What are you selling? That kind of a thing.
Yeah. I think that's key. I listen to his name is Patrick Bet David.
Okay.
He has a YouTube channel, Value Entertainment, and it's like based on entrepreneurship. But one thing that he said that I really liked, and this is how I've been, prior to reselling, but you got to hang out with people, like you got to talk to people that are below you. You got to talk to people that are at your level, and then you got to talk to people that, are above you.
Mm-hmm.
And, whatever, if that's reselling, then it's reselling. If it's sports related, then it's sports related. It's not just like a financial thing, but it is key to talk with other resellers, especially for me. Like I love talking to new resellers. I love talking to people at my level, and I love talking to people above my level. It's perfect, but you're learning so much though from one another.
Yeah, no, I mean that's really the biggest thing. I mean, if you can get into if I didn't have as a social media account, I would not
Yeah.
know nearly the amount of stuff that I've been able to learn through talking to other resellers, through,
Yeah.
seeing stuff on there. So it's kind of a key for like if you want to do this thing and do it successfully. I think it's one of the huge keys is trying to get out there and meeting other people because one person could drop a piece of information that could change your whole business. It's just it's
Oh,
that valuable.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I know I talked to a reseller, and one time he told me, he's like, you don't even understand like how how what you're doing is going to impact you down the road. And right
Mhm.
there and then, I didn't understand it. I wasn't there yet. And then, we always talk about it. It's like, man, do you remember when you said that? And I was like, yeah, but it's key, man. And if, for the people that are listening, find that someone, that's on your level. Find that someone that's, like I always tell resellers, I'm trying to catch you, and then you're trying to catch somebody else. And that's how it is, that's how I view it. It's a fun race, man. It's really great to be a part of.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, whether it's chasing, numbers on eBay or whether it's just chasing, different, goals that they have set and stuff. I think it really pushes
Yeah.
us, to be able to talk with other resellers, see what they're doing, go like, sometimes it puts me in my place too. Like I may have a great week of sales and I'm like, I'm on top of the world.
Yeah.
I talk to somebody else. They're like, well, I just did this, and this. I'm like, well, I need to go
Yeah.
buckle down and do some more. So it's very good for that too.
Yeah, it's very, very humbling at the same time, right? Because, in life there's always going to be someone that's, has a newer car than you, newer model, bigger house, makes more money than you. That's just how life is until you get to the top, and you're the only one. But I think that just kind of keeps us going though, man. It's like,
Hmm.
I want to be like this guy, and then you're like, I want to be like him, or maybe you want to be like her, whatever it is. So yeah, just keep going. But we were talking about the humility aspect and being humble. One thing that I like about you, Matt, is that you're not afraid to put on your Instagram, you made a mistake. What made you kind of want to just do that and put yourself out there that, hey, I'm not perfect, make mistakes. Like what was going through your thought process with that?
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. Um, I mean, it goes back to trying to be very realistic, trying to be very open with people. I think a lot of people like see the glitz and the glam of stuff on social media, and then they don't see what happens whenever you get a day of $1,200 in returns, or you have
Mm,
a broken package or something like that. I mean, there's days that aren't that great, and then there's days that are super good. Um, kind of knowing that you're gonna have the good with the bad though, and that's like for me, I never realized that, right? I never realized that you're gonna actually have to deal with any of the problems that may come with owning a business or something like that. It's good to kind of keep to teach people that because a lot of it's like teaching points. Like I learned from other people's mistakes, I learned from mine. Hopefully, I can teach somebody so they never make the same mistake that I did. And that's kind
mhm.
of why I put it on there.
Yeah, no, I think it's key, man. I think, my wife, she gives me a really hard time because she's like, she feels that I always talk about my failures, but like to me, that's how you get stronger, is working on your weakness, because like even athletes, basketball player, once you're strong in one area, you're fine. Now you got to work on this, like a lot of NBA players, they don't play defense. So if you want to be a standout, you know, it's being a two-way player like a Kawhi Leonard. You're great on the offensive side, but you're also great on the defensive side. And as resellers, by, you know, ex- talking about your weaknesses or your struggles, I think it only makes you better at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's kind of it. I mean, that it paired with the fact that like it just kind of puts you out there a little bit more, kind of gets you more comfortable with making mistakes,
Hmm.
which is not something I like to do. Like I really hate failure. I really hate making a mistake.
Hmm.
Kind of getting more comfortable with that opens you up to making getting more success because you're always taking more risks and chances that way. And so that's kind of it for me too. It gets me out there a little bit more and gets me out of my comfort zone too.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Getting out of your comfort zone is key. Earlier in the podcast, you said that you started off selling with mugs, during your college days, and now you sell like sneakers and hype sneakers. What is your favorite sneaker, Matt, that you like to wear?
So I don't wear a ton of sneakers. Like I have a lot of sneakers I love. Um,
Yeah.
it's just they're super pricey, and like I'm like I don't know if I want to drop $200 on a pair of sneakers. If I were, yeah, it's like they're pricey. But if I were to pick a
Yeah.
pair that I would just go buy, um,
Yeah.
probably like a pair of the Jordan 1, like the unions, I thought were really, really clean. They were like
Hmm.
blue. They looked a lot like the Royal Toes that came out like a couple weeks ago. I
Okay.
thought that those, I mean, they were just really, really clean. They're royal blue with a little bit of black and like a lot of white on them. They looked really clean. Those are like a super pricey shoe. You're talking about, I think they're in the upper hundreds, if not thousands. It's been a while
Oh
since I've looked
wow.
or no, the fragments, not the unions. The unions are a nice shoe too, but the fragment, they're the fragments. But those were a nice shoe. I mean, I liked them. Those would be the ones. But right now, I just usually rock a pair of Flyknits, a pair of Prestos. They're
Okay.
just super comfortable. I'm more about comfort, not about style sometimes. So
Cool. What size shoe are you?
like 10 and a half.
Okay. Just depends on the model.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it depends on the model, the make, and stuff, but makes it
Yeah.
easy for finding shoes because they're like the most made shoe. Like 10 and a halfs are
Yeah.
super easy to come by.
Yeah, you know what's another good topic that the Instagram world would go crazy is like, people that resell sneakers don't even wear like hype sneakers. You got those
Mm-hmm.
people that I just want to make money and I'll buy them and I'll resell them. And then some people, they kind of get high on their own supply and they wear the hype sneakers. So that's awesome. So where can people find you on social media, Matt?
Yeah. So on social, on Instagram and on Twitter, it's my name at MattSulava, MattSulava. And then you can find my podcast at Road to Freedom. I think it's actually in iTunes as Road to Freedom Pod, but it
Hmm.
just says Road to Freedom on the cover. Pretty easy to spot.
Yeah, really, really cool logo too, man. I definitely like
Thanks.
that. I don't know if you had that done or that was you, but I was able to find everything on your Instagram. You have that link tree, which
Hmm.
just has, it makes it easy. Just kind of click on the link, and then, for me, I'm an Apple guy, so I enjoy the Apple Podcast version. But are you on other platforms as well, like Stitcher, Spotify?
Yeah, so like I make sure everything's good for Apple because I realize that Apple's like I was looking at like the numbers. It's literally like 60 or 70% of all podcasts are on there. Um, but then like I'm on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, like any of the major ones. I made sure to
Yeah.
put it on there.
Cool, cool. Last question. Who is your favorite reseller or resellers? Who do you like out there?
Um, so I have three that I really, really pay attention to the most outside of like, people that I talk to a good bit. But the three that I mean, I always look at what Reezy's doing because Reezy resells is by far, I think what he does is just incredible. The way that he's helped people, I mean, the way that he has made his podcast
Mhm.
and this YouTube
Yeah,
channel, that for me has like transformed a lot of the ways that I think about things.
yeah.
So I pay attention to him. Pure Hustle Podcast puts out a lot of good content.
Mhm.
I think that the stuff that they're doing, like the fact that they're eBay focused has helped me a lot because I'm very eBay focused as well. So their content's really, really good. And then I pay attention to Flip just because he knows what he's doing with hype stuff and sneakers and stuff.
Right.
He's another good one that I like to pay attention to and see what he's up to.
Yeah, it's a cool intro, man, on his podcast.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Well, awesome, man. Any last words before we sign off?
Nah, man. I mean, if there is anybody who wants to learn anything, I'm definitely open to helping people. That's kind of what the Instagram is there for. That's what Twitter's there
Yeah.
for. So for sure, just reach out to me on there. I'd love to help you out if you need it. But I mean, I think we covered a good amount today, so I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll post his phone number down below. You call him whenever you
Yeah,
want.
yeah. Just call me.
Matt Shalava, thank you for being on the show today, my brother.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, man. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, no worries, man. Thank you to the audience for tuning in. You can find today's guest on Instagram and the Twitter, MattSulava. You can visit the show's website at aresellersjourney.com, where you can find a link to my Instagram at ebayjoey and the show's Instagram at a reseller's journey. If you like what you're hearing, don't forget to subscribe and follow on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Remember, never for peace.